you ever heard somebody just boast about the things that they've done? They may not acknowledge that it was truly God who helped them give them all those achievements. But people can also look back at things that they've lost and put more importance on them than God. Now, we all need to look to God and ask for His help. When He does, we must give Him the credit and honor for all that we have. Now, we can look forward to an amazing future when we trust in God. Marcus and Tricia invite you to join in all the fun with personal examples and stories from the Bible. God bless you guys. Well, hello everybody, this is Marcus.
And Tricia.
And we are
the Messenger
Ministry. Yay. Hey, I did it like you. I followed suit. You just never know what's going to come out of your mouth when you say that.
I know.
I try to match you when you do it. So, well, we're excited. We have another audio teaching for you today, and we're calling this teaching
Don't Look Back. We all do that sometimes.
We do, don't we? But sometimes we miss things that we throw away or we lose more than we appreciate when we had it, right?
Wow, yeah.
We seem to overlook the wonderful blessings of God, and we only look to what we don't have anymore.
That's sad. We need to focus more on God.
Absolutely.
So I was taking a walk recently. I was talking to God when I realized it was recycling day.
Uh-oh.
I had not put the can out by the curb, or someone I know didn't put the can out by the curb.
Our son. You're talking about our son. I know.
So then my whole focus was to hurry and get home before the trash collectors got to my house. God spoke to me and showed me that my mind had gone from focusing on Him to just thinking about my trash. I was more focused on what I was losing than on spending a great time on a walk with the God of the universe.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yikes, yeah.
So we tend to put so much into what we have that when we lose it, it causes us to focus on the bad instead of, guess what? The good, right?
Yes.
So let's look at an example, all right? So you're cleaning out your house and you decide to declutter. But you accidentally throw away your favorite lamp.
Oh, man.
Once it's gone, you had this longing in your heart, and you may find 20 different ways that you could have used that lamp, only if you just still had it.
That's right. It's amazing how that happens when you don't have something. It's like, oh, I would have used it here, or I would have done this, or oh, could have done that.
Yep.
Sometimes we just focus on the wrong thing. So it sounds crazy, but we do that with God too. We can turn our attention to parts of our lives before we were saved. Sometimes the enemy causes confusion and makes us think that we miss what we gave up. Paul talked about this several times. In 2 Corinthians is one of them.
So 2 Corinthians 11:22 through 29, we're going to read it. We're just going to kind of glance into all the problems that Paul experienced in these.
Yes.
So he was speaking to the people as a fool, as he calls it.
Yeah.
It was not what he wanted to be known for. So Paul, he was making a point, though, that since some of them believed in the false prophets, then he had more reason to boast, right?
Yeah. He was better than the false prophets.
Yeah.
So he was a Hebrew by birth, an Israelite, and one of Abraham's descendants. He was also a servant of Christ.
That's right.
So he had all those to show how much better he was, but he wasn't using it that way.
Right. So let's look at some of the things that Paul had happened to him, all right?
Yeah.
So he had worked much harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had been in prison more frequently. He had been flogged more severely. He was exposed to death again and again.
Yes.
And 5 times he received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1, which that was the total that the Jews couldn't enforce, was only 39, right?
Can you imagine, though, from your own people getting that? That's sad.
Well, look at what happened with Jesus. I mean, his own people rejected him.
That's
right?
True, yeah.
So 3 times he was beaten with rods. He was pelted with stones. Oh, my goodness. 3 times he was shipwrecked.
Wow.
He spent the night and a day on the open sea, right?
Wow.
He was constantly on the move. He never would stop, would he?
Right. He was
Well,
always
there were
going.
several times he was kind of, he'd stop over for a year or two, but man, he never really had a place he called home.
Except the dungeons and jails.
Yeah. So he had been in danger from rivers and from bandits, from fellow Jews and even Gentiles, right?
Yeah.
He had been in danger in the city, in the country, on the sea, and from false believers.
Yes.
He had often gone without sleep. He had been hungry and thirsty, but he had no food or no water.
Mm-hmm.
He had been cold and naked.
That makes me feel sad.
It does.
Cold and naked.
So he felt concerned for all the churches, because when one was hurting, so was he.
Yeah.
So when they sinned, he inwardly burned.
That's right. So he loved those churches so
Yeah.
much, and those people, that he cared for them. And his point in saying all of this was that he had gone through more than these false prophets who were saying, oh, look at us, we're so good. He's like, but they didn't even go through all of these things.
Right.
So it wasn't like a look at me. It's like a, why would you listen to them when I've done all this stuff for you?
Right.
So in 2 Corinthians 12, verses 1 through 10, we see Paul continue to boast, but in a different manner. He said he had a thorn in his flesh, a messenger of Satan, to torment him from being conceited. 3 times he asked God to take it away, but God said, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And that's 2 Corinthians 12, verses 7 through 8.
Okay, now, some people take this scripture and then make a whole doctrine out of it.
Yes.
So we don't know who or what the thorn was, but God is not saying that we should enjoy our weaknesses.
Yes.
We don't rejoice when we're sick, do we? Or we have problems.
You should not.
God, he didn't do that to us. You know what he did? He came to heal and to save us.
Yes.
So while it's true, we need to rejoice even in our trials, but we should not be boasting about them.
That's right.
A lot of people do.
They do. They make this whole doctrine that, oh, I'm sick, so I'm suffering for God, and bless me, I'm, going through this. And that's not, God doesn't want you sick.
Right.
He doesn't want you going through hard times. We're going to have trials, but he doesn't want you rejoicing, yay, I'm going through a trial. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's not what he was talking about when he said, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That's an emotional issue. So anyway, I just had to throw that out there because that makes me upset sometimes.
Well, you've been through it.
Yes. Yeah. So, Paul could have easily said these things and meant them for the people to give him more honor. But Paul was not boasting about himself. He was just making a point. If Paul had really meant all of those things as a benefit to get glory from the people, then he would have been looking behind at all the things he lost or that were taken from him. Paul, however, looked to the future, knowing that God had saved him and would continue to do so.
That's right. So in Philippians 3, verses 3 through 10, we see another area that Paul, he was boasting about sarcastically, all right?
Sarcastically, yes.
Yeah. He was warning the people that they should stay away from the false prophets, but he was calling them evil dogs who mutilated the flesh.
Yeah.
So Paul reminded his readers that they had the circumcision of their spirits in Jesus Christ. Now, he did go on to say that he had more to boast about than any of the evil people.
That's right. And what was happening here is the circumcision they were pushing was of the flesh. These people were saying, you can't be saved unless you become circumcised in the flesh. And he was saying, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? That doesn't mean anything. You are circumcised spiritually, so you don't have to go through all that stuff.
Right.
And that's why he called them evil dogs and mutilators of the flesh. So this was his point. He didn't have to do that. But he was circumcised on the 8th day, which is a religious requirement for Israelites.
And that was in the flesh.
That was in the flesh, yes. He was of the Israelite tribe of Benjamin. He was a Hebrew of Hebrews. And in regard to the law, he was a Pharisee, We hear about those in the Bible all the time, but
Right.
he was a Pharisee, like the top of the top. And he had a righteousness that was based on the law that was faultless. So he was up with the big guys.
Yeah. So Paul wanted to say that all of those things that he considered a loss for the sake of Christ and for the surpassing worth of knowing Jesus.
That's right.
He considered his old life garbage because now he had a righteousness of faith and not the law.
So true.
We need to be like Paul in these areas, okay? We need to have a reason to boast about ourselves and in our own achievements. But if God does not get the glory for them, we truly have nothing.
Yes.
So these are empty accomplishments if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Only the things that we do to benefit God will last until the end of time. So Isaiah says it best here, okay?
Yes. This is one of my favorites, one of my favorite verses. I write it all the time in my journals. So Isaiah 43:18 through 19 says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." And I like it because one of my things says rivers in the desert.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? It's just, you cannot do that on your own. It's like only God can make rivers in the desert where
That's
there
right.
is nothing. He will make a way. So we shouldn't be looking back at what we have lost. We need to be looking to God to move on with our lives. When we focus on Him, He will lead us to these amazing places. It is so true. They're impossible for us to reach on our own, but with God, all things are possible.
That's right.
That's right. Matthew 19, verse 26.
All right, so let's wrap up this teaching, okay? So we got a question for you. Do you find yourself looking at your accomplishments that you have made? Ask yourself this: if you have done them on your own, or did God help you in these accomplishments?
That's good. You need to differentiate between each one.
Right. So looking back at your past can't bring you the fulfillment of your future, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You must look forward and upward to God to bring about your future where you can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So past wins don't always mean that coming wins for your life will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And wins, I talk about WINS,
Yeah.
not wins like.
No, it's past, good things that have happened to you.
Right.
Times that you've won in life. Yeah.
So when you let God work through you, you can fulfill a longing deep inside of your heart. So give God all the glory for your success, and He will promote you even further than you could ever imagine.
That's so true.
A lot of imagines, huh?
Yes.
Things you can't even imagine God will do.
But He will promote you further if you give Him the glory. If you do something even for Him or something good, if you say, "Oh, I did that," or "Look what I did,"
Yeah.
He's going to be kind of like, if you don't give me the credit for it, you're just going to, kind of stop there with your boasting because you're not going to have anything else to look forward to.
That's all you're going to have.
Yeah.
You're not going to have anything further.
Right.
To
So when
go
you
with it.
give Him the glory for things that happen to you or through you, then He can just promote you up and up and up and up.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys got something out of this today. If you did, don't forget to leave a comment down below here. Let us know what you learned, right?
Yes, please.
And if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at themessengersradio@gmail.com. That'll be below here as well. And also, if you want to see any of our other videos or other audios that we've recorded, you can visit us on our website, and that is
www.themessengersradio.com.
That's right. And when you go to that website, you'll see all of our social media links. So if you're interested in any more of our audios, you can click on the SoundCloud site, and it'll take you to all of our audios. We have quite a few up there, so lots of different testimonies.
Yeah.
Lots of different things. We're excited about that. So I love testimonies.
You always say that like I don't.
Right. Well, you like
I
other
do,
things
but
too.
I do.
Those are some of my favorites, though.
Yes.
Is to see how God has brought somebody through something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Even some of the same things that happen to people mean so many different things.
Right. That's why some people can touch people that we couldn't even.
Yeah.
Or we can touch people that they couldn't.
That's right.
Because of certain testimonies.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Yeah. So you got anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. I just love you guys, and remember when you read these verses that Paul is being sarcastic.
Right.
So he's not really saying, "Oh, look at me, what I've done. You should worship me." No, not at all. He's saying, "Look at all I've done." That means nothing.
Nada.
Nothing without God.
Right. All right. We hope you guys are having a great morning, a great afternoon, or a great evening, however you may be listening to us.
That's right. We love you guys so much.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Or morning or evening.
Bye.
Bye now. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Messengers. You can always visit them on their website at www.themessengersradio.com.